Hi, Salam Alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, the purpose of this presentation is to discuss the third mathematical pillar of Islam, called Zakat. The mathematical principle underlying it is currents. We've discussed the second pillar in previous presentation, which is called Salat. The underlying mathematical principle is torque, or the spinning force. So we're going to talk about it in some depth here so you understand it and you understand how it applies to you and in the times we're living in, and the purpose of it. So before that, we want to talk about a few other things, right? Go over a couple of things. But as the title here says, who will win the war of Armageddon? Now, Elijah Muhammad stated who will survive, because for 50,000 years we've been under attack and we've been in survival mode. Dr. Shabazz put us in survival mode to survive 50,000 years of direct attacks mentally, physically, economically. So we've been in survival mode. And in Exodus, we see Moses in the survival mode. Get the people survive Pharaoh, survive Egypt. And then Aaron, in Moses' absence, led the people aimlessly around the wilderness for 40 some years, trying to turn them back to Egypt, deceiving them. And they wondered and wondered until Joshua's time came. And then we went into attack mode, win mode, no more survival mode, win mode. We're here to win. Joshua was a warrior. And he had Farad that was behind him. He was the general on the ground. Farad was the guardian in the air, his air force. So he went on to attack, to take everything that was taken from us for the last 50,000 years. So, who will win the war of Armageddon? You see the two visions there. We see God, we see Dr. Shabazz and Dr. Yaqub going at it. That's we're here. We're here in a struggle. Struggle for who will win. Who will gain control? Who will inherit the universe? Who will be the gods? It's a zero-sum game. You win or you lose. There's no in between. See here. Brothers and sisters, here you see the new world, the world we're bringing in, the biological world, the world they're trying to stop. It's coming in a blast, at atomic blast, ATTOM, ignited by the angel. It's already exploding before our very eyes, and they're doing everything they can to stop it. They tried abortion, didn't work. They tried to make it stillborn. No, they can't. That's not working. So now they're going to try to stop it coming through the birth canal. If that doesn't work, they try to kill it as an infant. They know that they cannot coexist with us in this world. It has to be one way or the other. The mechanical world they're trying to bring in, or the biological world that we created. They cannot exist in the biological world. You see, they're destroying the biological world. They're averse to it. They're evil to it. They don't understand it. That's what makes them evil, because they don't fit into the system. They don't understand it, and everything they do corrupts it. So they have to come up with their mechanical world. You see around everything, they're trying to make everything mechanical in order to survive. See? And we would not survive in a mechanical world. In a mechanical world, they would have to worry about the biological world, because this biological world is destroying them. All these diseases, cancer, plagues and all that. They're trying to make themselves impervious to that by coming into making themselves cyborgs and building a mechanical world. A cyborg is not a robot. It's a mechanical body with a human brain, biological brain. So they're trying to stop this. This is the world we're going to bring back in. We're going to restart our biological world and make it better and better and better. Right? And we're going to put the women, our females, back on top where they're supposed to be. Safe, beautiful. They are already beautiful. They're the essence of beautiful. And they're going to be even more beautiful. They are the essence of beauty. That's what we had in mind when we came up with the word beauty. The original woman. See how beautiful she is? Okay. That's the world. She'll be safe, back on the throne, on the pedestal where she belongs. The mother of creation. And all the enemies under our feet. Our perfect biological world is going to get better, better, better. Okay, brothers, sisters, let's get into the okay, this here is an angel key. I'm just presenting that so you have some idea of what we talk about. We move in those, as we move on, those that are familiar with the angel, understand what this is. You need this key to unlock the scripture. You need this key to unlock the Bible. You need this key to unlock. Without this key, you have no idea what it meant. The Bible is a sealed book. It was sealed. It was given to them according to Genesis. They was given the sealed book, which is powerful. Sealed book is powerful. But sealed book is the wisdom and knowledge of Dr. Yakub. It's the message to them. That's said the book was given to them. That's Dr. Yakub's message, the sealed book, right? But the unsealed book, right? That's the one that only the Lamb could unseal. That's our book. That's the greater. It said in Genesis, the greater light, but the greater light was given to them. The Quran was given to us. The greater light was given to them. See, the greater light was a sealed Bible, but it was sealed until the Lamb would come and seal it at the end. No one could unseal it but him, and that was signal end of Yaqub's world. See, that explosion that would totally blow away his world and ignite the new world, which Farad will be the God, is the God, and he will make all things new, with Suleiman as the high priest. Okay, here, um, okay, here what we have is we need to present this to put things in perspective for the point a point we're trying to make here. Now, what you see here is that you have the plagues, the destruction, the calamities, the crisis that's going to come upon America in the end. And it's referenced in three ways. So you can cross-reference it to determine who exactly they're talking about. Because they say the same thing, it's said in different ways, so you can look at it and try to understand what it means. Okay? So, let's see here. It says the fourth of the earth. Now, as I was saying the angel key, you'll see that the fourth of the earth represents the European countries, and it's four parts of it: America, Britain, Russia, and Europe, which is Eastern Europe and Western Europe, and America and Britain. So it's four parts. And then you got two parts. That's mid-heaven. That's the Shia, because they're between the earth and the heavens. So it's six wings altogether. Each one of these creatures has six wings. So some of you, just going to go past some of you that you don't understand the angel. But when you start understanding the angel, you understand. I'm just saying that for the purpose of those who are studying angel. So anyway, so it's the fourth of the earth. That means it'd be one of those. You're talking about either America, Britain, Russia, or the so-called EU. So it says, and this is the fourth seal. The fourth seal. It says, They will be hit with death, the wild beasts. I mean, this is calamities will come upon them. Death, the wild beasts of the earth. Wow, that means they're talking about the earth again. See, so it's talking about one of those countries, right? At least one, at least two of them says two. And famine and long sword. And then on the next one, now that first was the fourth seal. The next one says this is chapter 17. It's all talking about four calamities also. So each one of these talk about four calamities. And some of them are exactly the same. The other ones are the same, but just different ways to give you more understanding of what they're talking about. So he says, these 10 kings, they're talking about China and India, will hate the harlot, make her desolate, naked, eat her flesh, and burn down with fire. See, so that's four things too. But I lined them up in the columns they belong to, so you understand what exactly what they mean. Because like here in the first one it says death, that's where the fourth of the earth. But in harlot it says desolate. So those two must mean the same thing, just have different connotations. So then the next one, plagues. That's chapter 18. That's talking about Babylon, right? And it says, see, one they call the fourth earth, one they call the harlot, one Babylon, right? It says that's death also. Mourning, famine, and burn down again. See, so that tells you that the long sword must have something to do with burning down. And we understand that it is, because that's the first two winds, and they're associated with fire, so that's another story. At least one of them is definitely fire. That's the first trumpet. The first trumpet, right? That's the one that hits the earth, and this burns everything down. So that shows a long sword, because they understand that. They identify as long sword. So later on, they talk about long sword, you know they talk about fire. So hope you understand that. So here we're talking about the seals again. This is the 6 seals we're talking about. And like I said, you have to pay attention to every word and enjoy every word. Every word has a meaning. You can't ignore them. And we'll see why here. Okay, pay close attention. In the first seal, I highlighted, right, certain words. He heard something in the first seal, and he saw something that's related to the white horse. He's heard something and he saw something, right? But then you go to the second one, he hears something, but he doesn't see anything. Now we're not going to talk about the seeing part, because what we're talking about, we're only going to talk about the hearing part. So he heard something, but he didn't see anything. So now we got, in the first one he heard something, and the second one, right, relating to the second horse, right, he hears something, right? That's two seals. So far he's hearing. He goes to the third one. He hears something again. In fact, he hears something twice, right? That's the third one. That's the black horse there. See, he hears something and he sees something. He hears and sees something. Then he goes to the fourth one. He hears and sees something again there too. See, he hears something and sees something there too. But when he gets to the fifth one, he doesn't hear anything. That's the only one he doesn't hear anything. That's the fifth one. See, but then when you go to the sixth one, he hears again. So in other words, there's silence between the fifth one and the sixth one. There's silence. Silence between the fifth one and the sixth one. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean something? Yes, it does. And we'll see. When we go to the next slide, we'll see. Okay, here. Now, this represents chapter 11. Chapter 11, right? Okay, this are the witnesses. And this is a timeline. That gives you a timeline. In the angel, this is the cap that gives you the timeline. So we're going to walk this timeline. Right? Now, it starts in 1948 with the conception of false Israel, 1948. And it says they would prophesy for 42 years. Now, notice the pattern there. I got 42 years, and then to the right that says 42 months. At the bottom down, they have 24 years, then have 24 months. Years, years, months, months. There's a pattern. See? So you understand what they're doing. They say 42 months, they really mean 42 years, right? Okay, so that means 1990, 1948 to 1990. That's when they had the Gulf War. So when they had the Gulf War, that means America, Britain, and false Israel took control of the Middle East, pushing, superseding the power of the Shia. That's what this represents. So that goes to 42 years under that, right? Now they moved down. See, you see America, Britain, false Israel moved up. That means they pushed them down, right? So instead, then in that condition for days 3.5. Now, next that you see days 3.5. One says days 3.5, and one says 3 days and a half. Not the same thing. That's why you have to make sure you get the same, right? You get a translator, because you get a King James, it's the same things. They say it the same thing. It's not. Two things. The wording is very important. One says days 3.5, and one says 3 days and a half. It's two different things. Okay? So the one that says, when they talk about what's the half? The half is half of the 42 years. Okay? So that means 21 years. See? It's corresponding years. So that means 21 years plus 3. That'd be 24 years. So the war was over in 1991. That'd put you 24 years later. They'd be in that condition right here. So up top, they was in that condition, in that situation for 42 years. Now they're here at 24 years. That would put you at 2015. From 2000 to 1990, right? 15 years. I mean, 24 years. From 1991, put you at 2015. They've been in that condition. And then they would move to 42 months up there. And they, right? So they would move down to the bottom. Okay, it said they've been in that condition for 42 months, which would be 3.5 years. Now we're talking about months. So from 2000, what happened in 2015? It says they would be trampled under the foot of the nations. That means under control of the nations. That means the UN. The UN represents the nations. So that means they'd be under authority of the UN, which there was. That's the JCPOA. JCPOA, right? That was assigned in 2015 under Obama, right? And it would go for 3.5 years. That's 42 months. That'd be 2018, mid-2018, starting from March, because March is the official first day of spring. That's exactly when Mr. Trump canceled the JCPOA. So then they start moving up. See, start putting pressure. Because as next day then it says they will start moving up. See, in their first three, how long they were in that position. But in this one, is how long they take to get to the next position, which would be 24 months or 2 years, which would go from 2015, 2018, right? Mid-2018 plus the 6 months, right? And half. That would be 2 years. That would be 2000, right? 2020, right? Plus 6, that would be 2 years later. And so during that time, they'll be able to plague the earth with as many plagues as they wish. Well, that's when the plague came along. COVID-19 in 2020. So they'll be doing that period, right? And they'll be moving up. So it's like a wind. They're moving. That's a wind. They're moving. See, the other was how long they stayed in position and how long it took them to get that position. So that'd be 2020, mid-2020, right? When they finally got in that position. But it's 2 steps there. They get in that position and then they stand upon their feet. So so it's 2 moves here. So they're moving. The other ones, they weren't moving. They were just staying and put in that spot. So therefore you go right here. Now, this is at the point when they go to war, because when they go to war is when they kick them out. When they go to war is the point where they actually kick them out. See, they position in war. That's the wind blowing, and that's when they kick them out. So that's what you see, right? So when you go to when you go there, you see that the war takes place, and it talks about it says in that hour The next thing is talking about in that hour in chapter 11. That hour, it says a shaking occurred, which is the same terminology used in the sixth seal. Shaking occurred. They call earthquakes in the bad translation, the same thing occurred. That means the war took place. See? But when you see the beginning of the seventh seal, the first thing it says, there was silence in heaven for about the space of an hour. And here it says that hour, so it's talking about the hour. See, that refers to two things, that space for an hour. See, they're talking about 911, but in this case, they're talking about this, in that hour, because the same thing it says, there was silence for a space of about half an hour. See, that's what it says right there. Whenever you open the seal of the seventh, occurs silence in heaven as half an hour. I mean, not exactly as, so it's probably between 5 and 7 months, because the hour represents a year. So that would mean half a year, about probably half a year. So that means there'd be silence before the war. There'd be silence before the war. So we're in a period of silence right now. The silence before the storm. Hope you understand. See, we're in a period of silence now. The silence before, it be between 5 to 7 months of silence between the time they got in that position, which they got in that position is 6 months after in the 2020, 6 months starting from March, first day of spring, approximately 6 months. Then there'll be, before they go to war, it'll be somewhere between 5 to 7 months of silence. And silence occurred in heaven for approximately half an hour, and then they go to war. So they're going to war any day now. They're going to war any day now. That's why I told you, if you close, I reveal it, I make it clearer and clearer and clearer. And that's what it says. It says, because that's what it says. If you read the sixth seal and you read what it says right here, that hour occurs shaking great, that's the war. See? And all other things right there that corresponds with chapter, what it says in the sixth seal, but I'm not going to all that. I just want to bring up this point. So we're in a period of silence now. So war can start any day now. Okay. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay, sisters and brothers, we're going to talk about our main topic here. The third mathematical pillar of Islam, which is called Zakat, right? The opposite, usury, we're going to show that, right? And again, we have the two, it says what vision? There's two visions going on. There's that mechanical vision they're trying to bring in, it's all these computers, you see all this mechanical stuff, right? Implants, all the stuff they're trying to do, right? All this robotics and everything. That's the world they're trying to bring in. See, to replace this biological world that we're in. And trying to replace this biological, because they can't exist in the biological world, it's killing them. And it's destroying us because they're destroying our environment. And we're biological. They're making it impossible for they're telling you, no life will be able to continue living on this planet. Now, biological life, they tell you that because global warming and everything else, they're causing all this stuff. So they're trying to evolve to the cyborg. They get closer, closer, closer to it. But we will not be able to survive if we can't, unless we become cyborgs too. And they won't let that happen. Even if we wanted to, they wouldn't let that happen. Anyway, you wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. You'll see why in a minute. See, it's capitalism that fuels, right? Capitalism is the path to their dream. Capitalism is the path to their dream. See, this capitalism, what's capitalism? Capitalism is exploitation by definition, is profit. You get more than what you put in. That's against nature. That's against mathematics. That's why it says Allah is a war with the usurers. And usury is the foundation of capitalism. As Jesus said, know a tree by the fruit it bears. This is the fruit that capitalism has borne. Slavery, because slavery is the maximum. That's the capitalist dream. The people work and have to pay him anything, because unless he pays, the more profit he makes. So if he gets to the point where he has to pay you anything, he doesn't have to pay you nothing. That means that's the maximum, that's the dream for capitalists. See? So in other words, but if they get to the point where they get robots, they don't even need you at all. They don't have to pay anybody anything. See? You understand? So capitalism that's the ultimate dream, because the point, you want to get to where you can get maximum profit. You have to pay anything. So now you got robots, you ain't got to pay a salary. That's ultimately where they're going. See, they got to get there. Robots, they're cyborgs. So you got to understand their vision, where they're trying to go. Because if you understand the vision, you understand them. Once you understand their vision, understand them. You understand where you fit in their vision, what you don't. Unless you want to become a mechanical body. You want to become a cyborg yourself. Otherwise, you will not fit in. See, because they used us before they came to this stage, right? They used us as slaves to maximum profit off of us. But they had certain overhead. But robots had no overhead at all. See, no resistance. Perfect. That's a capitalist dream. That's the direction capitalism going. See, because the enemy to our creation. See, hope you understand, bro. This is very important. You better start with, because this is while you are watching NBA and NFL, all that kind of stuff. They're playing your destruction. Even if they're not intentionally doing it, that's the end result. It's like a dog brings you a bone. He's trying to be nice. He loves you. He has a bone. You can't eat that bone. But his love is evil to you because you can't. He's showing act of love. But the point is that if you get involved, if you eat that bone, right, you know what's going to happen to you. See. Again, this is the world they're trying to stop. See, you saw what the end result of their world, what they're trying to achieve, capitalism, that mechanical world. This is our vision. That's their vision. This is our vision. Paradise. Our woman, right? The mother of civilization on a pedestal where she belongs, right? Beautiful. See, she's beautiful anyway, in any context, right? Beautiful. See, modest. See, safe. See, worshipped, respected, glorified, and we're protecting her as she should be, as we haven't been. Not knocking your brothers and sisters, not knocking your brothers, not knocking you. See, they agreed to go through this with us. They had to go through this with us, survive. That's the process they went through. That's the process necessary to turn coal into diamonds. Okay, currents. The third mathematical pillar of Islam, called Zakat. The underlying mathematical principle is currents. Currents is the differential, a force differential, a pressure differential. When you have a difference in pressure, the higher pressure always pushes towards the lower pressure. It never goes the other way around. See, higher pressure pushes against lower pressure because it has this now. That's this current is because you got more. It's an imbalance. It's a differential, so it has to balance itself out. So the higher pressure smooths out until it's equal on both sides. No current anymore. See, that happens with electricity. So you have the negative, positive. What happens? The battery goes dead when all the protons have all have electrons. The whole idea of electricity is you have a whole string of protons. Each proton has to have an electron. Right? So you got a whole string of them, right? So you got 1,000 protons and 500 electrons. So that means they keep stealing the one from the next one because they got current. Trying to satisfy it. See, that's what that's all about. And the greater the ratio, the greater the current. So if there's 1,000 protons and 800 electrons, you got light current. If you only got 500 electrons, you got greater current. If you only got 200 electrons, you got real strong current because they got to move faster and faster and faster to try to satisfy those protons that don't have any. But if somehow electrons get in and all of a sudden all the protons have electron, the battery's dead. There's no current anymore. See? So that's how that works. Current. Current I'm saying the 5 pillars of Islam, 4 of them are based on the first one, consequence. Consequence is the first one. They call it faith. It's the most fundamental principle of universe. Every action has opposite but equal reaction. That's consequence. Equal. See? The current, all the 4 principles are based on that first one. So this is based on the first one, but it's in the sense of a force differential. So it's things trying to balance. See, it has to be equal on both sides. Then it stops, it stops doing that. See, it means justice. Justice means, everything is balanced. What's on one side of the equation is on the other side of the equation. That's why I have equal sign, called equation. One side of the equal sign is the same as the other equal sign. That's justice. Otherwise, you have a current. See, injustice is a current. Injustice, this is Allah is with those, right, who are treated unjustly, because that's Allah, in that sense, is universe, mathematics. That's why I say quick and correctly. So in other words, if there's an injustice, it will be corrected. There's no injustice ever goes unchecked. Every injustice has to be, everything has to equal. There's no exception. Everything has a consequence. So we're going to use this example here. Now this represents everything is equal. Smooth out, smooth, everything is equal. See? They smooth out. See? So that represents the balance. You understand better in the next slide. See? So, and current is also the Quran reference idea of luck. Current is positive energy or negative energy. Current, right, has to balance out. So if you have more when you're supposed to have, right, that means you're going to build a current. That means you have negative energy that's going to pull on that to take and even it out. So in other words, if the balance is $1,000 and this person has $1,000 and that person has $1,000, everybody's fine. But that person has to take $500 from the other person. Now he got 15, this person got 5. You got a current. See? And that current is going to be satisfied. That means the person got 1,500. He got 500 units of bad luck, negative energy, because that current has to be satisfied. The other person that has less, right? He's got 500 units of positive energy because that he's pulling that current towards him. It's got to be rectified. It's got to be balanced. Okay? Hope you understand it. It has to be balanced. Okay? That's what it means. That's why it says charity. Those who have more give to those who have less. See? So we'll see on the next slide here. So that's what happens. See? You have all the one in the center took all the energy to itself. Now he's got much more than he's supposed to have, more than anyone else. So, but now all that, see, has negative, those arrows, that means that all that negative energy not trying to pull it back. It's like you have, I know those of you know, like in the gym, you have those elastic things, and you like they're on both sides of the machine, and you pull them together, right? See, and you pull them, right? The elastics, but you have to use a lot of, to pull them together, right? So it takes a lot of energy to put them together. But once you put them together, the same amount of energy it took to put them together, that's how much energy it takes to keep them together. Because if you want to keep them there, you have to apply the same amount of energy continuously, as long as you want to hold it there. As long as you hold it there, you have to apply as much energy as it took to put them there. Just keep applying it, keep applying it, keep applying it, keep applying it, as long as you want to hold it there. Because once you stop applying, put that energy there, it's going to come back apart. See, put it together. Once you get it together, the amount of energy it took to put it there, that's how much you have to keep putting to keep it there. See, so now you got this force pulling you back. See, that's what's happening. Now you got all that, but now you got to use energy to keep it there. So now you that billionaire, you took all that resources to yourself from everybody else. They're trying to get it back, but now you need energy to keep it, or it's going to go back. Okay. So now you have a current. But that's also usury. Usury works on the same principle because it's opposite. Because usury, what happens is that you take you lend somebody $1,000, but you want $1,500 back. So you're taking more back than what you got. So you're creating a negative current for yourself. That's what says Allah is at war with usurers. That means he's at war with capitalism. And America is the bedrock of capitalism. So he's at war with it. He's at war with the usurers. Usury. He says he will blot it out. That means America will blot it out because because it's against the laws of mathematics. See? So we'll see it a little more as we go on. See, so those red ones show is the force that's pulling it back. So he's got to do something to keep it from going back. So he got to use energy to maintain it. Maintain that what he's taking from everyone else because he has more than everybody else has. Everybody is equal. Everybody gets the same amount of energy, brothers. Everyone gets the same amount of energy, even the animals. I know you don't understand that part. I'm not going into detail on that, but the Quran tells you that. Every animal, we're all animals. Every animal has an equal amount, receive an equal amount of energy every day. No exceptions. See what happened there? Now, couldn't hold anymore. You went back. Everybody's cool now. See, that's charity. Those have more, get those have less, everything gets settled. That's what causes revolutions. Because what happens is you got people that take all the resources and leave other people with none. So now you got this friction, this tension between them. See? And the longer it goes, the greater tension builds until the revolution breaks out. And those who have less, they take control, those who have more. And you saw it happen in the French Revolution, right? They start cutting their heads off. That's what inspires revolution. You see that going on in America now. All these people got fantastic wealth, and all these people have nothing. So that means you get the tension forces building up, building up, building up. At some point, it breaks when the tension is so great that the ones that have don't no longer have the amount of energy necessary to keep it. See, remember they have to use energy to keep it. When you put those things together, what if you hold these together, all of a sudden you get weak, you get hungry or you're starving or whatever, then you don't have energy anymore. It's gonna come loose because you can't hold it anymore. So you're only gonna stay as long as you can keep that, force, that muscle power, hold it there. So we're gonna explain that a little more. Okay, here, what we have is this what current is. This is what a current is. I'm gonna give you an example of current. See here? Okay, what happens is that everything is balanced here, right? Everything is balanced. Bam. See? So now you got a current. So you got all this on one side, and you got the engine force pulling it, trying to pull it back. It's current. Like somebody take all the resources, and now you got the resistance trying to pull it back. Now you have a current. It's like you have a lot of pressure on this side of the house, less pressure on that side. So you open the windows, then you got a breeze that goes through as a current because it's imbalance. If it's equal on both sides, no current. And there it goes back. Now it's equal, so it's equal on both sides, current, no problem. Giving charity, right? See, that's how you prevent the revolution because those have, give those have not less, right? When it's equal, there's no friction, no tension between them. Okay. Okay, we're going to give this example here. And we're on the right there, that's us here in America, right? Over here, that's Europeans. Equal. Everything's balanced. They're all equal. And then they brought us over here, and what did they do? What did they do when they brought us over here? They did that. They took everything from us, everything. They left us with nothing. Nothing. Took it all. So now you got this big current between us and them. This tension. But now since they have control, because when you have that, now they have all this negative energy now because they have more than they're supposed to have, and we have all this positive energy because we have less than we're supposed to have. So you got that current, but they control the situation. So therefore, they can control, because you're gonna get this, you will get this energy instantaneously. You know, when they take you, nobody can take anything from you. So you're gonna get the energy back. See, and they also going to feel the effects of having that. Because I said now they got to do something to keep it, but they still feel the effects of having more than they're supposed to have, and you feel the effects of having less you're supposed to have. But they control the situation, so they control how you receive the energy back. So they said, well, they put you out in the field, so you can't relax, you can't party, right? You can't, you know, eat what you want to eat and stuff. So you got, you know, because you can't do anything that you want to do. So so how you gonna get the energy? Well, whatever door, see, somehow they're gonna leave some door open because they can't close every door because they're not wise enough to close every door. They'd have to just kill you, and that has its consequence also. So the only thing that they left us was the ability to recreate, reproduce. So therefore, we produce a stronger seed. Think about it, because under this intense pressure of 400 years, right? A woman, look at it from the female's point of view. They got her out in the field. They got eating garbage, right? They beating her, raping her. They got her in the field working, and she's got to have that. That sperm has to go through all that grief, all that stuff, right? To get to the egg, it's got to go through all that internal stuff, all the emotions, anger stuff inside it. You got to get through all of that to get to that egg. Then it's got to fertilize the egg, and then it's got to get through all that stress, and then she got to go through, you know, in the womb as developing. It's got to go all that pressure. That sperm is filled every bit of it, and finally coming out into a world that's totally against it. So it had to go through all that pressure. That means it's going to be stronger, stronger. It has to be at least as strong as the woman, otherwise it's stillborn. It's going to be at least strong as the woman that gave birth to it. See, so in the process of what they was doing, they was creating a stronger seed because we've been transformed. It says we've been transformed from coal into diamond, but the same part because they have more than they're supposed to have, right? They live around luxury doing nothing. Then their seed is weaker and weaker and weaker. You see, everything works for the good. See, they don't understand all this. So they said, okay, y'all gonna do this stuff. We're gonna use y'all evil to benefit us. That's why Dr. Shabazz prepared us for it. So we're going to use your evil to transform us from coal into diamonds, from angels to gods, because angels are lower gods. See, that's what angels are, because we're all gods. But that's why it says, make man in our likeness and our image. See, that's us 500 years ago. Understand? So, man, better, strongest, because the black folks, the original people that's alive, you might not think much of them, but they're strongest because the only way they could be alive, they had to come through all that. So half of them, that's why half of them half crazy now, because all this drama stuff just to come into existence. But they're stronger than anybody before them, because nobody had to go through what we had to go through to come into existence, to get through the birth canal, all that stuff. See, the sperm, they go through all that. Remember, because that's the oven that they had to come to. That oven was under extreme pressure. And that sperm had to deal with all of that to come into existence. Think about it, brothers and sisters. This is a concept you need to be familiar with. What is this about? Tightrope. Okay. Energy deprivation means that we didn't have enough energy. to maintain civilization, very little energy even to maintain ourselves. That's like a budget, right? You have expenses, but you're not making that much money. That means you got to balance that budget. And the tighter, less money you make, and the more expensive you have, the harder it is, right? It's like walking up a tightrope, balancing that, because you got to pay the bills, you got to pay for the food, right? You got to pay for the rent, right? You got your children, the medical, all that stuff, and you got this little bit of money. You're trying to balance it. That's what you're going through. That's what we're all going through, and some of us more so than others. See, and then here you're going through this, and oh man, it's hard. And they say, I'm going to school. I want to do better. Now you got to add another expense, and you already got it. That means the tightrope that you're walking. See, first it might have been a foot wide. See, you're walking to a building, right? 42 years long, 400 years long, right? 400 years long. That's 400 miles. You're walking 400 miles from one building to another, right? And it's storming and raining and wind blowing and tornadoes and hurricanes, and you walk. And it's only 1 foot long. There's only 1 foot wide, and you up, right? 400 miles or 440 miles. See, and you got to walk 400 miles, and you're up 4 miles in the air, and the wind blowing time. That's what we're under. That's what we're under balance. And if you don't know, you fall, you're gonna die. So you got to learn to balance. And we didn't know how to balance. We know the situation. So a lot of us are just falling off. Some of us are naturally slow-footed. We was able to get through, hang on. Most of us just fell off. See? But then so you said, oh, I want to go to school. So now it was a foot thick. Now it's like 6 inches. Or get down to 2 inches or 1 inch. In my case, it got down like thread. See? When I started to take on this angel, I lost everything. My family, my children, everything. Got down to the size of a thread. See? Because everything costs you. See? That balancing act. See? Excuse me, brothers and sisters, 1 second here. Okay, there you go. So that's and we was in that situation until Master Abraham came and told us how to balance, gave us how to live, right? The lessons, right? This restrictive law, teach you how to balance, walk that tightrope, the 5 pillars of Islam. See, to survive. Those that listen, they survive. Those that didn't listen, a lot of them just fell, kept falling. See? Elijah Muhammad kept it going until Farrakhan come and start putting grease on the. See, so people start slipping and falling. He started greasing. You understand the rope. See, so a lot of people just fell because that's the situation for him, brothers and sisters. You got to walk that tightrope. See, if you want to go out and just watch NFL, all that kind of stuff, and you do all that thing, then that's why brothers and sisters be falling and in prison and everything else, because they understand we have energy deprivation. We have a long way to go. We got a lot of expenses. We got a little bit, right, income. So we got to balance. See, that's what our life is like right now. See, but as we get more energy, the rope gets wider and wider. See, right now it's about to get a yard wide, and hereafter, so why you couldn't fall off if you want to, but it's wide. And right now we're told we're going to time of unprecedented trouble. That means you're going to be on that wire. Tornadoes, hurricanes, everything. You're trying to balance. That's where the angel comes in, brother and sister. That's where those pay attention. See, they walk right through, no problems. Because if you do those things, you have no problems. See, I give you an example. See, my life is see, when you tune up a car right, you don't hear any noise, nothing, everything's calm. And that's when you get that right balance, no problems, no issues, no sounds, anything. So my life is perfectly tuned. Had no problems or issues, right? See, it took me a while because trying to pick up that angel, man, my was very tight. So I finally got my balance. See, but then when it gets out of tune, you start hearing noises and everything. So what happened was they get this $1,400 stimulus thing, right? I took it, but I started slipping because I'm finally tuned, right? Just like a Lamborghini, finally tuned. All of a sudden, my laptop start crashing. My tablet totally crashes. Start having incidents, right? It's incident at the gym, and this happened, that happened, all kinds of stuff just blowing up, and I knew exactly what was going on. See, they neutralized the whole $1,400, and I let it go, and now everything's coming in balance again. Everything costs, brothers and sisters. You understand? Everything. When you say something nice to somebody, that costs. That you gave them something. You gave them something, right? That's what the Quran tells you. It's like charity. Everything costs. If it's something evil to somebody, right? Same thing. Now you took something. Everything costs. Now I'm not being nice to devils and demons. See, I got enough power to handle that because we're here to get rid of them. We're here to be nice to them. See, we're slaying demons. But I am patient and understanding my brothers and sisters. See, because we're going to get out of here. But I need you, that's why you understand this tightrope concept. See, or you won't get out of here. That's what angels for. Where I started, told us, hey, this is what you need to balance. We only go through this energy deprivation. Hereafter, we won't be suffering energy deprivation. So we won't be on a tightrope. See, we're golden paths. Couldn't fall off if you want to. And won't be no hurricanes, no tornadoes, anything like that. Total peace. But right now, and that gets back to currents. See, that's how this relates to what's happening now. Because if you take and you have an imbalance, that's a current differential, right? See? As a negative one, it's going to cause you to lose your balance and fall. But a positive one, right, will be even, it's like have a longer stick. See, the longer stick, easier to balance, keep your balance. But see, you're not doing negative stuff and everything else. Stick gets small, so now you have nothing to help you balance. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. It's kind of simplistic, but I think those of you who are paying attention, I think you understand. And believe me, it's been very difficult to get this message to you. I've already made 2 recordings. I spent 6 hours there. I made recording the first time on my new laptop. I told you. And the sound didn't work. It was a 2-hour one. This one's going to be smaller. No. And the sound didn't work. I got it here. I can show it to you. It's the whole thing, 2 hours. No, ooh, I hot about that one. So I told you that $1,400 didn't do me any good. So I did it again. I got it. I got it on YouTube. I wasn't going to present it because I got that sound up, but then it sounds really bad, echoes and all that kind of stuff. That's why I'm doing it like this, until I can figure out how to get this thing working properly. See? So I was like, all day long, this is the 3rd one I'm making. If this one fails, brothers and sisters, you might not get this for a while. So I said, I'm late tonight because I said I got to get this to you, brothers and sisters. This should have been this to you early this morning. Okay, brothers and sisters, hope you understand. Okay, see here, this represents the 5 races. Europeans, Orientals, Asians, Africans, and us. Now this is simplistic, but it's still just the way things work. So each one has less requirements. The Europeans have less requirements to maintain themselves. They're like Volkswagen Beetle. We're like the Lamborghini. So if we get 100 units per day of energy, right, we need 90% of that to maintain ourselves. So maybe we only got 10% left. But Europeans, they only need 10%. They don't need much because they're Volkswagen Beetles. See, that's the wisdom of Dr. Yaku's creation. Because what he did was, he says, I make a stripped down version. This is time of energy deprivation. No one had enough energy to rule, but I make someone that needs less energy. So they have a lot of energy left, they can rule. That's why it says the ruling. I make, I put a rule in the earth, but he makes mischief and shed blood. He's weak, but he has the power to rule. That's the wisdom behind Yaku's creation. But he's weak. He has weaker structure, so he has less structure. Weak structure. He can't stand as much pressure, but he has more energy. And in the time of energy deprivation, where we, you understand, are weak, then he can withstand that pressure and he can rule. He can withstand whatever pressure we put on him during that time. Because remember, it's low energy. Low energy means low pressure, right? Okay, so he can withstand it. See, so he can rule. So he make mischief and shed blood. That's Adam. See? Okay, understand that. Is it a coincidence that the most powerful people on the planet are Europeans? The next after them are the Orientals. Next after them the Asians. Next after them the Africans, and last is us. That's no coincidence. That's what you're looking at, bro and sister. I don't know if you paid attention to it. Had to do with racism, but we're going to talk about that in a minute too. So here we go again now, the same thing, 100 units per day, but Europeans, he got 90% of it. So if he's getting $100 a day, he got $90 worth of disposable income. He can do all kinds of stuff. But on the other hand, we only got $10 of disposable income, so we can't do very much. So we Lamborghinis, but we sitting up in the garage. We can't get him move around, nothing. We might get out one day a week. He can go. He's all about all the time. He's all over the place because he got all the extra energy. See, he's not that strong, but he's got all kinds of energy. Right? He can live off eating pork. You can't put cheap gas into a Lamborghini. He can eat pork. He can do all kinds of stuff and survive it. See, we can't do that. So we need a lot of to maintain ourselves. We got a Lamborghini body. See, but he can live off of garbage. See, so he has rule. That's what that's talking about. Okay. So this is get down to the nitty gritty of this. Okay. I recall that I said that the sealed Bible, what you have, the sealed. It tells you sealed. In fact, Revelation sealed with 7 seals, and that book Daniel said was sealed to the end also. So people tell you they know Daniel. How can they know Daniel unless it would be revealed to the end, unless you're saying God's a liar. So here you go. So remember I said that what we did is that we say we got different species. Human species. How you know a species? Because they can reproduce within themselves. Dogs and cats can reproduce. Europeans, the cavies try to produce with dogs and cats. That didn't work, right? When they tried. So that's one way that you identify a species. So we can all reproduce amongst ourselves. Cavies can reproduce with the Africans and so forth, right? So the animals, right? They're when we call animals, well, we're animals too. They're different species, but they're lower species. So we deny them any rights, anything, and we use them like we want to, even though they get as much energy as we do, right? Okay, but we have to maintain control over them, otherwise they're eating us. Okay, so what Dr. Yaku did, see the same thing we did to the animals. See, we classified animals as lower species, so therefore we can do anything we want to with them, and we can take all their resources, everything from them, eat them, whatever. So he did it with an interspecies, within a species. So he says he designate his creation as superior of our species, and we were inferior. So therefore, he had rights over us. We had no rights and take everything. So what does that mean? So all of us gets 100 units per day, and he takes and says, okay, declares us lower, right? The lower of the species. So we have no rights. All of a sudden, he owns us. So now he has 500 units a day. He take all the hours. He has 500 a day. Remember, he's got to use some kind of force to maintain that though. But he still has 500, and we have nothing. So now he's 505 times more powerful than he was before. He's rich and powerful, and we have nothing. That's racism, because you have to say he has to make war against the racists. That's racism. That's the core. That's why it says the foundation of their ideology. That's the ideology, the foundation of their power. They're not going to give it up. Because to give it up, that means, right? Because if we give up eating animals, we'll starve. I mean, in the hereafter, we will not eat animals anymore. That's that down and start 50,000 years went to energy deprivation, so we start eating them. You know, but in here we will not we will stop that practice. But you understand what's going on here? That's what they did. That's all through the sealed Bible. Racism, chosen people, all that kind of stuff. Because you don't understand it, but you read it, that's what you get. Slavery and all that stuff is there. Because that's Yaqub's message. The sealed Bible is Yaqub's message to them. See? And it would take Suleiman to come and unlock it and blow that all up, blow out of the way. That's what he did. See? So he came over, he took all the Indians' land, so-called Indian, right? Took it all there. Took us, took everything away from us. Right? Took control of everybody, all the whole planet, and that's how they became wealthy. So they're not going to give that up. See, you understand what racism is? It ain't something, oh, it is racist. No, that's the foundation of their power. Source of their power, the ideology will fuels it. See, and capitalism and all that stuff, that's rest on that principle. Understand? Let's look at this. Okay, let's use this as an example. This is a very simplistic example. Let's say, now the angel tells us that we get, the Quran tells us that we receive an energy wave every 50 years, a positive energy wave. See, all the energy you see out of the universe used to be here. The Quran tells you that. It used to be the atmosphere of Earth, and then we spread it out in waves, right? Now we bring it back in waves. Every 50 years we get an energy wave that says momentous in the heavens of Earth, but it comes to us. It means it saturates the Earth, it's absorbed by the Earth, Earth converts it to one we can use, and then we suddenly feel it. We're starting to feel it now because, and you can track it. The first positive we got was like 1860s, first positive energy wave. 50 years later, right? I mean, that broke out physical change, right? 50 years later, broke out mental change, right? When Farah came, Noble Drew Ali, those type of people, right? We went to Afrocentric and Eurocentric mode, where the demons, those masses, black-faced children, went to Eurocentric mode, right? Orientation, and the original people, Afrocentric. Then 50 years later, right, so-called civil rights, right, broke out social chains, and now we're 50 years later from that, do the math, and now we're gonna break all chains, because this is what's happening right now. You see it, it's happening right before your eyes. But the thing is, so use this up here. They put us in a cage. Remember I said, to do this, they have to use something to keep us there. Once you bring those things together, you got to use force to keep it there. Otherwise, that's the police. They never had police before slavery. There was no such thing as police. That was the purpose of it, to keep us, because we're the source of their wealth. We're the source of their wealth. We're the most creative people on the planet. You go all over the European countries, right? How come all of the European countries not innovative as America? Because they don't have us here. They don't have us there. Remember, Hidden Figures? Why they hide that? Here were these sisters that didn't have as much education as master, yet and still, they was the ones that put them out in space. They couldn't do it without them. And there was brothers involved too, but I ain't gonna tell you about that. They hid for 50 some years. Look at all this music. Name me some music that came into existence they created, except for this Beethoven stuff. And some people say he was even black. That didn't come from black folks. Reggae, Scott Joplin, right? Motown, disco, jazz, right? Rap. See? And how come Russia's mostly all European, Caucasian, right? German. So how come they're not? All they do is copy off what ideas come out of America. All the innovations coming from America. Why? Because we're here. They're not going to tell you that. See, we're very creative. We are very creative. Where do you think all the cotton gin stuff come from? It says necessity is the mother of invention. So we was out there doing back-breaking work. Somebody said, man, I got to figure out a way, man, to come up with something. We had to break our back like this. And they came with all that stuff. Remember, Use on the plantation, whatever you can with it belongs to master. Same thing, they still have the same thing now. If you go to a job, they tell you, if you come up with an idea, invent something that belongs to the boss. Same idea. See? So they took credit for all the things that we came up with. So that's another story I'm going to go into. So anyway, they took everything from us, so they have to make sure we don't get it back. We get it back. That's the story of Esau and Jacob. Remember, Jacob ripped Esau for everything, his heritage and everything. And then he had to give it all back. So they got to make sure we don't get it back. So now they have to have energy. So that's what the police force is. And they got to pay them. Remember, that's energy. They got to pay. So in this case, I'm saying everybody, he's getting 500 a day because he's taking from us, taking from everybody. But he's got to use 100 units to keep us under control. So you got to spend some energy to keep us under control so they don't get it back. See? So that's the police. Keeps in the cage. But every 550 years, right, we get energy increases. Now, energy increase means we increase energy. He also increased energy. But that increase increased the pressure, which overwhelms him because he can't take that much pressure. See? So it's a two-edged sword. See? He gets more energy, but energy comes with pressure, which he cannot withstand with so much. So there we go. Now, another energy wave. Now we got more energy, so it's harder to control us now. So now it takes 200 units of energy to control us. So it's getting harder to control them. See, it's harder to control them, right? Okay, let's go. Then he gets another 300 units to take to control us. It gets hard, man. It's hard to control these niggas. So that means the police have to get more police, right? They have to get stronger, bigger weapons. Remember, they was getting stuff in the army and military and everything like that, right? See? Because it's hard to control. They got to get more vicious, more oppressive, because it's hard to control us. See? Because if we break control, then we're going to take back everything they took from us. They don't want that. See? 400. Oh, man, it's impossible to control these niggas. It's impossible. See? Bigger police force, more oppressive laws, 3 strikes laws, prison. Finally, it takes as much energy as they got to control us, so therefore they can't control us anymore. See? That's where they're going to right now. See, because right now because they're bankrupt, America's bankrupt, trying to keep control. Send the industrial jobs overseas to China, send the intellectual jobs to India, the outpost jobs to Mexico, aborting your children. See, because they got all kinds of things to keep you under control. More prisons, all these things to keep it. Now they went in debt. They're in trillions of dollars worth of debt, trying to keep you under control. And now they can't afford to anymore. Now you hear calls to ban the police, or ban all the controls they had. See, because now the controls themselves are under attack. Now they don't have to control, but now the controls themselves are under attack. You understand, brothers and sisters? Hope you understand. I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. Okay, brothers and sisters, a lot more to talk about, and like I said, I already spent about 3-4 hours already, and hopefully this one came out okay. Got done 2 that failed, trying to get this tip working all day, and now it's the day is almost over. It's at 11 o'clock at night. It started early this morning. So I hope you understand, brothers and sisters. This is the 3rd pillar, see, and called Zakat, and it's based on pressure, differential, pressure differential, force differential. That's what it's based on. So probably have a part 2 to go a little more. Because like I said, I'm not going to go as deep as I was in the other two because I've already spent about 4 or 5 hours, and it was lost. But that's where we are, brothers and sisters. You're going home, but right now we're on a tightrope. See, they're out to destroy us. The demons are assisting them. They have their vision, we have our vision. Only one will prevail. You're going to wake up because the war is about to start. They're technically at war now. It just hasn't broken out to the extent they talk about in chapter 12. But we see all the forces building. They talk about this triad now. China, I've been talking about it for 30-some years. Those of you who pay attention, no, I've been definitely been paying attention for over a year. No, I've been talking about this triad, China, Russia, right, and Iran. And now they're talking about they're all gathered together against America. So I think that pretty much covers everything I want to talk about here. Did I leave anything out? But there, like I said, we have a follow-up. So now we talked about torque. Remember, what you see there is the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. We talked about 2 of them. Consequences at the apex, the top. All of the other 4 are based on consequence. Consequence is fundamental. So hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Try to go into detail here. So we discussed the timeline. We're in a period right now of silence before the storm. Talked about that. Talked about the 2 visions. Capitalism. Capitalism. Understand what capitalism is. Democracy. Capitalism. Religion. They came after us 50,000 years ago. See, the first thing they did, Ishmael, our brothers, they came out economically, kicked us off our land. See? And 35 years ago, Dr. Buddha, right, took us off the mathematics, attacked our minds. First, they attacked us economically, kicking us out of our home into what is called now Africa, out of Arabia. See? Then they came after us mentally, right, with this religion, all these religions, taking off the mathematical. So now all this confusion in the world. And they have you confused. Have you wearing cross around your neck, stuff that you can't prove. See? Then came out physically 6,000 years ago. And it turned up the volume 400 years ago. It was an intense pressure. But they didn't know what they was doing, producing diamonds. See, we were under intense pressure. That's Shabazz knew what was happening to produce diamonds. That's where we are, produce diamonds. Transform in a twinkle of an eye. So we're going to hereafter. Now I'm going to say a couple of things about the hereafter. We won't have any garbage like this. See? And hereafter, we won't have money, but we have a form will be money, but the total wealth, see, one nation, again, the total wealth of the nation will be divided amongst everyone the same. The God, the high priest, whatever, we receive the same thing. So if there's a million people and there's $1 million, everyone's gonna get $1 a day, period. It's what you do with it that counts. We have entertainers, we have engineers, we have doctors, we have lawyers. We don't need doctors. Like Dr. Muhammad said, only reason you need a doctor is maybe have a broken bone. If that happened, that problem wouldn't happen either, right? Or maybe deliver babies. but everybody will receive the same. It's what you do with it. See, what's this? Because all of us have a dream. That dream is our pathway to our heaven. Because your dream is your nature, who you really are, and what you really want to do. Not here, they destroy your dreams. Or you got to work at Burger King before you can be a doctor, whatever. No, you be whatever you want to be, and you be happy doing it and you fit in because you have eye cells, brain cells, toe cells, nose cells. Each one works together. And you think of us as a body, because each one of us, we are one body. We're one body. You don't understand that. We're one body. But some of us are eye cells, some of us brain cells, some of us heart cells, right? And that's what the Quran said, we gave you your backs. In other words, each one of our cells, we gave independent, but they still work together because we still need the heart cells to work to produce blood for the rest of the body. You understand? I know some of you got a will understand that, but we're one body. And our body produces cells. Our body renews the cells approximately every 7 years, except for the brain, approximately every 7 years. That means a cell dies, an identical cell replace it. That's upgraded to a new environment. That's you. Take 4 birds, train it kind to you, right? Put them in all mouths, and then call them. They come to you fine. That's you. You're immortal. So that means you live 1,000 years, 800 years, however long, right? In youth, very healthy. Then boom, right? You bring your life to the end, and you come back in as you'll be. If you was a female before, you still be a female. You come in, but you upgrade it, right, to a new circumstance. You see, and you have way to bring your memories back, so you know it's you. That's the way it works. But everybody receives the same amount of energy. So, and like I said, you fit in. So you fit in, and you do whatever your heart's desire. That's what you want to do, and that's going to be perfectly fit into. Because right now we're suffering with cancer. What's cancer? A demon. How does cancer work? The thing is that the reason why cancer cells are successful because it camouflages itself to look like a normal cell. So the antibodies don't mess with it because it looks okay. It looks like a normal cell, so it doesn't bother it. That's a demon. It looks like us, walks like us, talks, but it's not us. And it goes about destroying all other good, healthy cells with their garbage, their lies like Farrakhan. And you can't recognize it because it looks like the antibodies that would normally take it out wouldn't, because it looks like the rest. That's why cancer works. That's why it says we were plagued by demons. So it's my job to relieve you of that, destroy the demons, destroy the cancer. So all that to be gone. So be healthy, no disease, anything. So once we get home hereafter, right? We get better and better and better. But everybody gets the same. So it's like if you got a $1 million shit farm or $1 million diamond mine, it's still worth $1 million. It's what you do with it. See? So if you don't want to do anything, well, that's you. Then you can sitting around your $1 million shit farm. See? It's up to you. Everybody gets the same thing. It'd be no rulers. I mean, the rulers, it'd be rulers. The God, he's gonna rule, but he doesn't oppress you. He rules he coordinates. It's like if we want to build, it won't be any bosses, managers, that kind of stuff. We want to build something. Okay, we find a person that wants to, an engineer that wants to build this project. So he has somebody do engineering, somebody do the architect, somebody do up do design, right? People got to lay the bricks. If you're going to use that analogy, lay the bricks. Somebody's going to put electricity. You don't need any boss for that. Because once you lay out, everybody say, okay, I'm going to do this part. See? They don't do it. You don't call them no more. Next time they don't do that right, you don't call them next time you do a project like that. You need the inspector to inspect to make sure all things okay. There'll be no oppression, brothers and sisters. You'll be totally free. To pursue your dream, because you may like chocolate cake, right? I don't like chocolate cake. Well, I might not like it, so I can't force it on you. So my dream is to have chocolate. My dreams have vanilla cake. Your dreams have chocolate cake. So we all have different, because you may be a brain cell. I may be a foot cell. He may be a butt cell. We still need butt cells. You can't be you're going to take and curse your butt cell. You know how that's going to work out. You like hemorrhoids, huh? We don't look down on no part of our body because all of it works, and every part wants to do exactly what it does. Is happy doing it. That's where it been hereafter. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. None of this garbage, no more. Because you see, you hear brothers and sisters work with me. They try to get me to tell them what to do. I refuse. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You already know what to do. Just do it. Just don't corrupt anything. We got to get used to being free again. Remember that movie, Roots? He kept telling people, don't you know what freedom is? You never seen freedom? Because no, it was born in. They didn't know what it was. And most of us still don't know what it is. That's why we fall on that tightrope. So my job is to get you back to it. Thinking yourself, thinking your own. You figure it out. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Master Father don't want to tell you what to do. Elijah Muhammad said he's going to live about 500 years. You think that's what he want to do? He already spent 80 some years sacrificing, right, to get you back home. They think that once you get home, he wants somebody to tell you to do anything. He wants to live his life too. He's a human being. He wants to live his life too. So do I. Because soon I get you home, right, the first thing I'm going to do is pack up and go to Himalaya someplace, some hole in the ground someplace, with me somebody I can happy with, just get away from everybody. Take a break for 1,000 years. Because, this is difficult for me. Because I'm not used to talking to people. For me to have to do what I'm doing right now is very difficult for me. Because I'd rather be away, reading a book or something, studying. That's all I know. Interface with people, it's always been difficult for me. That's why most people never like me. Because I didn't socialize. Didn't want to. And I couldn't if I wanted to because I didn't want to talk what they want to talk about. I don't want to talk about football. I don't know anything about football. I know what football is. I know what baseball is, but I don't know, I mean, I played baseball as a kid a little bit, I remember one day, I should even say this, I'm out there in the park, and these guys say, hey, let's play some touch football or something. Man, I ain't never played. So I'm winning, right? So guy throw the ball, I catch the ball, man, I saw all these guys moving in on me, man. I said, what the hell y'all coming to me for? I threw that ball away. You tackling me. Because, but now if you want to talk about some science, mathematics, physics, hey, I'm your person. But you want to talk about NFL scores and that kind of stuff? I'm not you. I'm not knocking it. See? But if that's what you focusing on, when we at battle, then you lost already. Because we at battle, we're going to war. We've been at war 50,000 years. Some of you already capitulated. That's why many of you are going through tribulation. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I think I covered most everything. So if I haven't, if I think of something, I'll have a second follow-up. This is not as much detail as I did in the first two, so I apologize for that because I went into a lot of detail. You don't know how upset I was, boy. I went in and played it back and no sound. So what the? And the second one, I got the sound, but then the sound was like, man, I got it out there. I mean, if anybody wants to see it, I'll give it to you. A lot more detail than this, but it's got a lot of echoes and stuff in it. I mean, you can hear it, but I don't like to put out stuff that's like, just, okay, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum.